ऊपर में सोना अंदर में ऊपर क्या कि सोना दिखता अंदर के। हाँ चलो ये बच्चा
Hello. Welcome to this distinguished lecture education and research in India, gender issues and science-specific issues. It's my pleasure to welcome Professor Gautam Desiraju onto the dais. Please come onto the dais. A brief profile about Professor Desiraju was born in 1952 in the University of Bombay in 1972. He was awarded his PhD from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign in 1976 under the supervision of Professor David Weiss-Curtin and Professor Ian C. Paul. From 1976 to 78, he was a member of the research staff in the laboratories of Eastman Kodak Company in Rochester, New York. He joined the faculty at the University of Hyderabad as lecturer in 1979 and being appointed reader in 1974 and professor in 1990. He has published more than 300 research papers in the area of crystal engineering and solid-state supramolecular chemistry, where he has made seminal contributions, and his interests include the study of weak hydrogen bonds and other intermolecular interactions. He is the author of the well-known book entitled Crystal Engineering, the Design of Organic Solids for published in 1989, and the editor of multi-author volumes on organic solid state chemistry in 1987 and supramolecular chemistry from 1996 to 2003. Amongst the awards, Professor Desiraju received the Chemetro Award, a Millennium Medal of the Indian Science Congress, and a Silver Medal for Excellence in Research of the Chemical Research Society of India. He is a recipient of Humboldt Research Award and the Michael Wisting Professorship of the Westman Institute of Science. He was awarded the Third World Academy of Sciences Award in Chemistry for 2000 and the Ranbaxy Research Award 2000 in Pharmaceutical Sciences. He is a recipient of Priyadarshan Ray Memorial Award of the Indian Chemical Society in 2002 and the K. Anjireddy Award for Innovation of the Indian Institute of Chemical Engineers in 2002. He was awarded a Senior Visiting Fellowship at the Institute of Advanced Study of the University of Bologna and an Invitation Fellowship short term of the Japan Society for the Promotion of Science. He was recently appointed as a consulting editor of Accounts of Chemical Research and a member of the editorial advisory board of newly launched journal Chemistry, an Asian Journal. Very recently, he was awarded the Goyal Prize in 2005 of the Shri Kalaram Trust and an honorary membership of the Hungarian Chemical Society. We are really proud to have you. It's my pleasure to welcome Professor K.S. Rajshekar Rao to the dais. A brief profile about Shri K.S. Rajshekar Rao. Shri K.S. Rajshekar Rao, a brilliant control system engineer, a successful business executive and able administrator, is a postgraduate in ME Control Systems and MBA in Finance and Marketing. Further to this, Shri Rao has added qualifications in Psychology, Human Resource Management, Taxation and Materials Management. He is a fellow member of the IETE and a senior member of Institution of Engineers. Shri Rao has good number of papers published in the areas of technical and academic journals. He is a member of many technical and management committees on human resources development, organization development, system engineering, regulatory boards, BIS, etc. Recently, Dr. Rao was conferred the Performance Excellence Award individual by the Indian Institute of Industrial Engineering for his exemplary technical and managerial abilities. Shri Rao has extensively toured Europe, USA and Gulf on business issues. Above all, Shri Rao respects the human values and helps the needy in the society in various ways. It's our pleasure to have you with us. Now I welcome our beloved director, Professor R.K. Mishra, on to the dais. Dr. R.K. Mishra, Senior Professor and Director, Institute of Public Enterprise, Hyderabad, India, a PhD from the University of Rajasthan and a visiting fellow at London Business School, studied for International Teachers Program at SBA Bocconi, Milan. He taught at the University of Bradford and was a visiting professor at the Meyerson Desk Science, De La Homes, Paris. He is a member of William Task Force, an international task force on standards of excellence in public administration and education. His areas of interest include international management, international finance, public-private partnerships, restructuring and environmental administration. It's our pleasure to have you, sir. And now Professor R.K. Mishra to give the welcome address.
She's very high in that field and now she was faculty. With that, on behalf of my board, on behalf of my president, Professor Ramarao, who is member of Atomic Energy Commission, International Atomic Energy Commission, who is the member of the Prime Minister's Defense Advisory Council, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Hyderabad, a most coveted person. Let me give a big welcome to these two distinguished colleagues, Dr. Desiraju, and he is really, I think, the crown of the country in terms of the contribution that he has made. And only such professors, I think, they are the leading lights of the educational field. They inspire us, they motivate us, and they encourage us to continue to work in our area with full dedication, and whatever little we can do, we should do for that area. On this note, let me also tell what a great opportunity is this, when on 5th September, we have Professor Desiraju, who is the grandson of Sarpalli Radhakrishnan, our former president. The president, he made a great mark. Distinguished president, I say, I don't want to speak anything else. Distinguished president who turned, I think, the tide of the history, who gave a new philosophical interpretation to the history. I was in Russia, and when I was in Russia, they talked of Radhakrishnan, and it was Stalin who went and touched our former president's feet, and he wept at his feet. Stalin never talked to anyone any time in his lifetime. And when he met President Radhakrishnan, he said that I found a person of my thinking, a person who could really show me the light. Very distinguished person, Professor Desiraju is, and today he has come to talk on science and technology. He talks about research. Without science and technology, the country can't go too far. It's not the politics which will take the country too far. That's what we discussed with our esteemed participants, who are very senior persons from public sector. We have 25 joints of public sector here, coming from 25 largest public sector plants in the country. They will determine the future of the country, and in their hands rests the growth and the time to come of the country. We all thought that it's not politics which will take the country forward. It's actually research, it's the development, it's the innovation, it's the new thought which will take the country, not only in 21st century, and not only in this millennium, maybe a few next millenniums also. So we are talking about science and technology, how science and technology can help us. Can we make a mark? China is now coming forward, and China in a way I think has left India behind. Our citations I think are something which are very important. And when you go to MIT, then you see in that term what is most important is science and technology in the services of the people. The whole thing today is that there is a disconnect between academic institutions, science, technology, politics with people. That's the greatest problem that we are facing today. Though we are talking about 100 billion, we talk about 1 billion people, but in 1 million people, I think 50 lakhs or 30 to 40 lakhs people, they are going in one way, and 99 crores people, they don't know what 50 lakhs people are doing, though they are leading the country. There is a disconnect. This disconnect has to be taken care of. And therefore, I think only that science and technology will prosper, which thinks of people. Can we revolutionize the kitchen of the lady? Because half the time we go there. Can we make our transportation systems better? Can we save on the natural resources that we consume? We talk of environment, we talk of greenhouse gases. Can we do something so that we can make our country a wonderful place? We can live, I think, with nature well. Very, very important subject. Though, as we talk in the morning, in our own interaction, we are spending more money. But spending more money is no guarantee of achieving the success. Sometimes we can achieve the success by spending less money also. So budgetary allocations, I don't think they can tell the true state of what is happening in science, technology or social sciences. On that note, we very keenly look forward to hear Desiraju, who has made a tremendous contribution in this area, who can fearlessly speak because he is very strong in research. I won't say that he is a rebel, but if you consider anybody as a rebel who can tell the truth, then I'll say, yes, he is one because he believes in speaking the truth, he believes in speaking what he thinks. Let me also say on that note, we extend a very, very hearty welcome to Shri Garu, and you can please share to Garu. He is a member of IT fraternity. I know that he sits, very high, but we never felt that he is one with IP. He has been guiding us, and he has brought industry closer to people. I think that's one thing that we must admire. Public sector enterprises are doing well, but what is happening is they are going in a direction and leaving people behind, something like an engine and coaches. We have left the coaches behind. An engine is marching at a very fast pace, and people have no reckoning, no understanding where the engine is going. And here is a person who talked to all the universities, he talked to all the institutes. Of course, IP also happened to be one, and He brought all the 20-25 universities of Andhra Pradesh, about 108 leading scientific institutions and social science institutions like this, because he doesn't believe that social science research is different from scientific research. And if you take a polar view, they are the same, and he is driving that point very, very hard. He has been guiding us in our efforts. He has been also allowing us to understand what the industry is, because industry at times I think has become a big secret. People just don't know what is happening there. Maybe that we don't allow each and every one, but some people who have that urge must go there. Youngsters must get an opportunity to see what the industry does, and he is one of them. So I welcome on behalf of the board. All my colleagues are here, both the distinguished senior colleagues in our country. Thank you very much.
Yes, Professor Desiraju to give his talk. I request my colleagues, Dr. Ratan Reddy garu, to honor Professor Desiraju garu the bouquet. To release the brochure on MA.
Professor Mishra, Rao, Dr. Janaki, colleagues, friends and students. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere thanks to come and deliver a lecture at IPE today. I think we are at a time of change, and it's clear that many things are changing in our country as well as in the world. And I would like to trace some of the issues related to science education and research. And as the title says, and considering that I am lecturing in IPE, for the large part, I would like to talk about general issues. I hope I also get a little time to talk about a few science-specific issues. Education itself is not a simple thing, and they say it cannot be left entirely to the educationists. But it involves all of society. It has to do with the relevance that the whole educational enterprise assumes in a societal context. It has to do with the young people, the students. It has to do with the teachers, and it has to do with the enabling technologies that take students and make them more educated. Scientific progress is the hallmark of any dynamic and progressive society. The quest for a scientific temper in today's world has been rendered almost imperative, as it's seen as the key to global economic and political influence. This began with the Renaissance, before which, for example, countries like India and China were dominant economically. India and China lost their economic dominance mostly after the Renaissance and especially after the Industrial Revolution, because that is when the Western countries assumed a position of technological superiority, which they have never conceded after that. And so progress as we define it today in the modern world, is linked directly to scientific progress. Scientific enterprise is often the best rebuttal to ignorance, superstition and hypocrisy. It encourages a logical, quantitative and systematic approach to life, rapidly empowering and enriching those who embrace it. Many developing countries have realized the importance of science, both as a means of advancing technological progress at home and as a way of establishing their prestige and status abroad. So there are two benefits. You improve your local condition and plus you increase your status vis-a-vis the other countries. India made many moves to increase and improve scientific activity since 1947. But the feeling today, however, is that many aspects of our scientific development have been unsatisfactory. When compared with what China has achieved over a similar period of time, the Indian contribution is seen to be somewhat lacking in both quality and quantity. Of course, China has many problems, as we know, and also problems in the education sector. But on an average, they seem to be doing much better than what we are doing across a wide range of disciplines. Many other developing countries are also facing similar problems today. So the purpose of my lecture is to analyze this phenomenon further and to suggest some avenues for discussion, action and even disagreement. And part of the problem that we as educationists face today is that many of us are in a state of denial. We don't even admit that we have a problem. And I think this is very dangerous because the first stage of curing a disease is to admit that you have got a disease. If you don't admit it, then we all know what happens to you. Quality and quantity. Now what do you mean by these two things? Are two characteristic attributes of any educational and technical enterprise. Given limited resources, how do educationists, policy planners, bureaucrats and politicians address these issues, which affect all of us, high and low, rich and poor, educated and uneducated? There is no one whom these issues do not touch. Does one attempt to educate the largest number of people at the lowest possible level provide a sound foundation in the hope that this will eventually lead to progress at higher levels? Or does one strive immediately for excellence at the highest levels in the hope that this will have a trickle-down effect in due course? It is tempting to state that one should try for a combination of both these models. In other words, trickle up and trickle down. And somehow hope, because we've got limited resources, so we cannot do everything. So you say we try a little bit from here going up and here coming down and hope for the best. I think this is what we've been trying to do so far in India. The real challenge is in establishing exactly in what proportion the trickle down and trickle up models should be employed. It is a scientific dictum for bivariate phenomena that vary inversely by quality and quantity. I mean, a fixed, suppose progress is fixed, I have written progress is equal to quality multiplied by quantity. And you've got limited resources. So you can put it either in quantity or you can put it in quality. How do you juggle these things? It is possible to quickly increase either variable. In this case, either quantity or quality you can increase if you put in enough money, time or effort. But to achieve even a marginal increase in both quality and quantity simultaneously is formidably difficult. This is what we are now finding in India. You can put some money and effort and try to educate a large number of people. You can do that. Otherwise we can say, alright, we put our money and try to maintain a few elite places. These things are fairly easily done. But if you want to take a whole lot of people and then try to increase their quality, that is quite difficult. From the point of view of scientists, social scientists, policy makers, India is a very good if challenging arena in which to study these issues. The country is of a huge size and is socially, culturally, economically and educationally very heterogeneous. Simple models are generally not applicable in India. It is likely that if a solution is found for an educational issue in India, a simpler version of this solution will in all likelihood be applicable for smaller, more homogeneous countries in the developing world. In other words, India as a leader in the third world. What we do, others can learn. Additionally, there are several advantages in being both large and heterogeneous. Nehru realized this very early on. He was always talking about India's size as an asset. We have countries that are heterogeneous but not large, like Switzerland. We've got countries that are large and not heterogeneous like China, very homogeneous country. We are both large and heterogeneous. Unfortunately, we have not been really able to leverage these advantages to our benefit in any tangible way. I firmly believe that both largeness and heterogeneity are real assets. Modern scientific paradigms also hold. I said that India is a very complex picture. What do you mean by complexity? I work in a branch of science that deals with complex systems. And it's important to understand what you mean by complex in science. It roughly means the same everywhere. We take, for example, an ant walking about. I mean, that is a simple kind of a situation. But we've all noticed that when a number of ants walk, they all walk in a line behind each other. They don't walk in any kind of haphazard way. Now, what is the mechanism by which these ants know that they have to walk in a straight line? That is a complex system. So a collection of ants is a complex system. It is governed by certain rules and regulations that we are not able to appreciate easily from the behavior of a single ant. By looking at a single ant, we do not understand and we do not really know how and why the ants walk in a line. So this is a complex system. So in this slide I will say that modern scientific paradigms also hold that complexities, weaknesses and adaptabilities often yield solutions to difficult problems that elude approaches that rely on simplicity, strength and directness. That is problems, namely weaknesses, adaptability, complexity. And there can be no better example scientifically. So the connection between cause and effect is not very direct and simple. That is what characterizes complexity. Issues of quality and quantity have even completed elementary school. 30 or 40 years ago, the scientific research scenario in India was very simple. Life itself was simple in those days. These were the days in Xavier's College. Colleges that had outstanding programs for undergraduate teaching and did not have any false ideas about what they were trying to do and overcame what they were trying to achieve. My teachers were all ordinary BScs. They didn't even have MScs. Some of the things they taught me in my BSc class between 1969 and 1972, I treasure those lessons today. I remember these people by name and face. And the kinds of things that they taught me in those simple subjects keep me going for the rest of my days. These colleges subscribe to Gandhiji's statement that education is an all-round drawing out of the best in child and man, in body, spirit and mind. At the postgraduate level, the number of institutions that undertook competitive research was small. The then fledgling IITs, the IISc, some CSIR laboratories and a few universities. A number of serious-minded students undertook research. Only serious people went to research in those days. After a PhD, they would often proceed for a postdoctoral stint abroad. Their parents did not ask them what their salary would be when they finished their PhD. An even smaller handful who returned to India constituted a new generation of teachers, most of them scientific research. It was a low input, low output, low throughput, low impact kind of situation. However, nobody was anxious and making money was quite far from everybody's mind. Money didn't really enter into this equation. A dedicated teacher and a few motivated students could together achieve a happy academic environment. Quality was the goal, and though elusive, there was never any doubt about identifying it when it surfaced. Now these were the old days. We cannot and should not yearn for these simple days now. It's just nostalgia. And nostalgia, I think, is a dangerous thing to have. It is something we can ill afford in times of change. Life indeed is not simple anymore. Times have changed, and quite rightly so. Today change is knocking on the doors of academia, and vast numbers of students aspire for educational opportunities at the highest levels. In the name of democratization, we have been told by our political masters to increase the outreach of our teaching and research programs. Can the system cope with this increase? Over the last 15 years, there has been a modest increase in the number of researchers who are able to publish their work in competitive international journals. This increase, however, is far outstripped by the number of research students, their general lack of quality, and their hunger for quick monetary gains. They want to make lots of money very quickly. In this part of the world, in this part of the country, I know that many students in our university who acquire PhDs want to go abroad, especially to the US for a postdoctoral fellowship, because the going rate for a dowry then goes up quite a bit. This is no reason to do a PhD. This is no reason to take up science. There are much easier ways of making money. You know, if you've got such a shrewd business sense, please take up business. Don't come into science and spoil this whole show with these kinds of motivations. Other such lacunae exist in different parts of the country. I mentioned dowry in Andhra Pradesh because it is a particularly bad problem in this part. There seems to be also misconceptions among students about a scientific career. Some of them feel that provided they study hard enough, they can make it at the highest levels of research. So they believe that just by putting in good work, you can get there. Others gravitate to science because they have nothing else to do. Both these are extreme positions, and both views, in my view, they are ill-advised. Because beyond the point, you can do research up to a certain level with hard work, but beyond a point, hard work alone will not take you to the higher levels. However difficult it is for us to stomach in the fuzzy and loosely, I would call it, socialistic political structure that we now seem to inhabit, I must state bluntly that research is elitist, it is discriminatory, and it is at the highest levels of outstanding quality. Not all can do high-level research or become high-profile technologists. Native intelligence is a God-given gift. An ability to focus, prioritize and apply can, however, be learned. I think even this is to some extent inherited, the ability to focus, prioritize and apply. But I think in many cases this can be learned. It can be learned from good teachers, it can be learned from a good peer group and a support group. A combination of these factors, native intelligence, ability to focus, and then some mysterious intuitive flair, it's not enough, all goes into the making of a true researcher. Excellence in research is like high altitude climbing or marathon running. It is not meant for all. At more modest levels, a few more can participate. But that's the bottom line. Still, there is nothing wrong in moving from the slow-paced, quality-based system which we had 30 or 40 years ago to a more accelerated, quantity-based system, provided the ultimate goal